After my neighbor was videotaping me, somebody eventually called the paramedics, thank God. And they were like, do you have any idea what she's taken or what would be in her system? And my friend was like, I really have no idea.
So you weren't alone, you were with a friend?
There was someone else in the house, yeah.
Okay. This neighbor taping you, did you know the neighbor before?
No. It was a very weird situation. I wasn't aware they were aware of who I was, but they sold the tape within hours, so they were clearly always aware of who I was. And again, I don't think my friend had any clue that a woman from an upstairs window would be taping down into my backyard. I think she was probably remained hopeful that I would calm down and go to sleep, but she said she was relieved when the paramedics showed up and someone had called 911 because she was afraid to do that to me being who I am, and she was just nervous and she hesitated and she's apologized for that.
Yeah, the neighbor said that they had to call 911 multiple times before for disturbances.
They've been called there a bunch. They go see her at least every couple of months because she loses it.
That's not true.
That's what they said.
Yes,
so.
I know, and I find that very strange. I had to call the police there before a couple times for disturbances, but they weren't called there because of me disturbing anybody. That was the only time.
How did you feel the next day?
Well, it took a very long time for me to really realize what was going on. But again, my friends were excellent. They didn't tell me for a minute because they didn't want to add any more stress to it. And I didn't really, I remember, believe it was real until my friend showed me a screenshot of me on the fence. And then that's when I was like, oh, wow, this is real. Like, this is how I really ended up here.
How do you feel about that neighbor?
I have to say, I'm just shocked that you wouldn't want to run to help somebody. I always try to jump to people's protection. I am shocked that that wasn't their first thought.
Because you were blacked out, how did you feel watching yourself in that condition?
Coming up.
You were criticized if you were skinny. You were criticized if you gained 2 pounds. You were called a party girl. How did those things affect you?
And later.
Were there people medicating you to keep you working?
Thursday on an all-new Dr. Phil. He and his new bride moved in with Mom.
I never asked you to come.
You are a liar, Mother. You have no brains.
You sound like a teenager living with her parents.
That's Thursday. We now return to Misha Barton, a Dr. Phil exclusive.
Misha says one of the most difficult things about this tape were some statements she made about her mother that were extremely harsh and very hurtful. Misha asked us not to play that portion of the tape because she didn't want to hurt her mother or her family any further. Because you were blacked out, how did you feel watching yourself in that condition?
Oh my God, it's over.
It was terrible.
Oh my.
It's almost in a completely different way, as invasive as the other situation I was going through.
You said something hurtful about your mother in that tape.
Oh, my mother. I always knew it.
How did you feel when you saw that?
I felt really awful. That probably is the worst part of it for me.
Have you talked to her about it?
It's been, you know, quite some time since we've properly spoken.
Has she seen the tape, you suppose?
Yes, I would say so.
Have y'all talked about it at all, the tape?
It's been extremely brief.
Was it an apology or?
It was a bit of both, but also there's just not much communication at this very moment.
Does she watch the Dr. Phil show?
I'm sure she probably does.
If she does, and she's watching this, what do you want to say to her?
Oh, I would just tell her I love her so much, and she was an amazing mom. And yes, I'm very sorry for anything I've put my family through.
And what you said on that tape
wasn't
authentic?
It wasn't authentic. It was